Let's talk about what no one talks about when it comes to foundation. I remember when I was in college in a painting class, one of the first things the instructor told us was that you have to use enough paint on your canvas. If you don't use enough paint, you can see the texture of the canvas underneath, and that is the #1 sign of an amateur artist. And it's the same concept for foundation. A lot of people have issues with makeup separating or clinging to dry patches, collecting in the crevices of their nose, foundation seeming to evaporate and being consumed by your skin. When in reality, I can guarantee that you just didn't apply enough foundation from the get-go. Now, in my makeup classes, I used to tell people that you could use a full coverage foundation and shear it out to be a medium to sheer foundation coverage. But that really isn't great advice. If you try to use a higher coverage foundation and to apply a really small amount to get a really sheer amount of coverage, you end up not having enough product on the face and then end up trying to grind it in with the brush. And then you end up separating that pigment of the foundation, the coverage, from the emollient base that helps it spread. And the result is foundation that looks like it's been on your face for several hours. You're kind of simulating what happens to foundation on the face, but within the immediate application. And the same thing's true for if you're painting a wall. If you just try to scrape and grind in the paint into the wall, it's not going to give you better coverage. The texture is going to get splotchy and it's going to catch all the imperfections in the wall. It's the same concept for a canvas and then for your face. You have to use enough product. It's able to grip the surface and create a second skin effect. So in reality, you should be applying the same amount of product on your face, or at least a certain threshold, whether it's a tinted moisturizer with sheer coverage or a full coverage cream. You can get away with finessing more. And of course, there are tricks to sheer out a full coverage foundation, but that's more advanced and it's creating a lot of rooms for error if you're an amateur. So my #1 tip for people with foundation issues, without me knowing your exact issues and I'm not able to consult you for your exact situation, just based off of what I usually see, the patterns that occur, I would say you're either not applying enough foundation to begin with, or you are applying too much skin prep. So you're either diluting the foundation so much that it can't adhere to the skin, or you're not applying enough of the foundation in the first place for it to create a cohesive layer to cling to the skin. In either situation, the foundation is just not adhering to the face and creating a cohesive layer as intended by the manufacturer and the chemist. That is causing 99.9% of all foundation issues ever. Now, of course, your skin's always battling the foundation that you put on top, so it'll eventually eat it away, separate it, it'll wear off, etc. But if that's happening to you within 30 minutes of application, you're doing something wrong. This is sort of a big abstract concept, but if it's interesting to you and you want me to get